My name is Michelle Lowe. I am a 50-year-old nurse living in Boise, Idaho. I was originally born in Canada, in a little town called North Bay, Ontario. It's about 4 hours north of Toronto. I'm the sixth girl of an 8-person family, so I have 5 older sisters, a twin brother, and a younger brother. There's 10 years between the oldest and the youngest. Mom was a busy person for those 10 years with 8 kids. When I was about 6, Mom started a business on her kitchen table. So my oldest sister would have been about 14. The business took off. It was making drapery for hospitals and nursing homes across Canada. She developed a factory. She was one of the best in Canada for supplying hospitals with curtains and cubicle track, and my mom would do the sales. They brought in a business partner named Bruce, and Bruce became part of my life when I was around 6 or 7. He lived with us. He would go with Mom during the week. All 3 parents would vacation together, and they would all drink together. They were all very functional alcoholics. They had a cabin and a house and a boat and cars, and they lived fairly well, but they were all very heavy drinkers. We can chart the alcoholism back about 5 generations, and my dad 2 generations from what he can tell from his family. My parents would leave generally Monday, and they'd both go their separate ways. Mom with Bruce, and then Dad would go another way, and they'd be gone for the entire week. My parents would drink about a 40-ouncer of rum nightly, and there's also the beer and the wine and everything else. And when I was very, very young, it was more partying and drinking, but it was every night. As I got older and as the kids started leaving home, the drinking got worse. We had Friday night fight night, where Dad would get abusive. There'd be a fight between Bruce and Dad, or Mom and Bruce, or you name it. One of them would have a fight, and it got so bad that my younger brother, while he was a teenager, had to stay home on Friday nights just to kind of protect my mom from my dad's abusive behavior. Again, my parents were very functional drunks. They did very well in life. They probably could have done better had they not drank. And, we didn't talk about drinking. We didn't talk about the fact that they were alcoholics, but they were. I can remember times, all 8 of us kids hiding in my oldest sister's bedroom while my dad was on a drunken rage, and my oldest sister played guitar, and we'd all sit and sing or do something just to, while they were screaming and throwing things at each other upstairs. That was just the way of life, though. My grandmother, who lived across the street, would come up. We'd say, "Come up the hill." We lived on on a hill every Friday and Saturday night, because my grandfather would kick her out of the house because he was drunk. He died of liver cancer. My dad quit drinking about the last 10 years of his life. My mom died. She drank on the day she died, so she never did quit. So, my sisters, I don't know if have really dealt with the alcoholism in the family. I've got my twin brother, severe alcoholic, also uses other means of pain relief, I guess you'd call it. My brother Jamie is an overeater. So out of the 2 boys, one went the alcohol abuse or drug abuse, and the other one is the overeater. One of the questions that we're asked is that, how did it affect you as a child? When I look back, we always lived in crisis. When the parents were gone, it was almost a relief. We knew how to take care of ourselves. We had our older sisters, although it was probably very hard on my older sisters to raise children that weren't theirs, and they were just kind of left to it, but that's what we did. the Fridays and Saturdays and Sundays, they were tough. There's also some fun too, it wasn't all bad. But the drinking, after 6, 7 o'clock, you stopped interacting with the parents because they would be drunk. As I got older and I left home, you wouldn't call after 6 o'clock at night because A, they wouldn't remember your phone call, and B, they were drunk and there was no use talking to them. I've got 2 sisters that are like that right now. It's quite a shame. We didn't talk about the drinking. I did bring it up with my mom a couple of times, saying, "Mom, you got really drunk last night," and tried to do it when she wasn't drinking, and it was just completely. There was no saving her. There was no way she was going to stop drinking because I said or I asked her to. She didn't have the introspection, didn't have the desire, so there was no saving her. The effect it had on us was that we lived in crisis, and as we got older and we moved out, the only place we felt comfortable is when we did live in crisis. So you would find relationships and people and things that would be very chaotic so that you felt comfortable. It wasn't until I really decided that I wanted to live with peace that I was able to give away those chaotic times. And there's still times when I revert back to that where, I'm not comfortable unless there's a problem to be solved. Probably the reason why I'm an emergency nurse. Had lots of friends when I was growing up that had alcoholic parents. My best friend, I usually go over to her house to hide on the weekends. Her dad was a drunk, but he would drink very quietly. His abuse of his wife was very quiet. You wouldn't see it. You just kind of stayed away from him after 10 o'clock. I later heard that he had sexually abused a couple of his daughters, not my friend, but a couple of his other daughters related to drinking. It's kind of sad. Alcohol was very, very prevalent when I was growing up. People drove drunk. In Canada, we had it was called a ride program where the police could pull you over and for no reason, and it was always funny because they'd always be set up on the highway that was just at the base of our hill where we lived, and I think that kept my parents inside a little bit more than quite a bit because they were always around, and my parents drove drunk. I remember them driving me drunk. That was normal. That was normal behavior. The advice I'd give to children that are children of alcoholics is to realize that you can't change them. The only person that you have control over is yourself. I choose not to be an alcoholic, and that is a very conscious decision. I had a very addictive personality. I was addicted to cigarettes. I did drugs when I was a kid. I remember being drunk when I was 11 years old. In grade 6, we'd go over to my girlfriend's house and we'd drink. We'd water down the parents' booze and we'd drink. In grade 6, that's what we were doing. We were very old very quickly. But the thing to remember is that for a young kid, you cannot change your parents' behavior. You can change how you react to that behavior. You have to say to yourself, no, I don't want to live in crisis. No, I don't want to live like they do, and make changes within your life. You have to accept who they are, accept the burden that you have, and be safe. You have to remember to be safe. If you see kids that are not safe, if you have friends that are not safe, then you need to tell someone. It's so important. No one would have told on us if they'd come in and seen what was actually happening. Nowadays, yeah, they would have reported my parents to the child services. The way they treated their children was unacceptable. What I'd like to say to my parents was that they could have been so much more had they not drank. But I think it was a disease, and I think it was something they couldn't control, nor did they have the urge to control it. So it wasn't going to change for their life. I wonder, what their life would have been like had they not drank, had they not had to have that around their neck. It's good to see that there's help for people now, and drinking isn't as accepted as it was back when I was growing up.